banks. We'll get back to the market in a bit. Dabur came out with earnings just a while back. We've got Lalit Malik, CFO at Dabur, joining us to take some questions. Mr. Malik, good afternoon. Prashant this side. Thanks for joining in.
Good afternoon to you.
So I just want to start with basic numbers. What was the underlying volume growth in the quarter?
So if you look at the Indian FMCG, the volume growth is 9.5%. And the pricing is another 5%, so coming to 14.3% is the overall growth.
Consolidated underlying,
look at the international market.
Consolidated underlying volume growth.
Sorry?
The consolidated numbers, sir.
What? Yeah, so as far as the consolidated numbers are concerned, 9% is the volume growth and the balance is the pricing.
9% is the volume growth. Balance is price increases.
That's right.
What else happened? We'll get to segments in a bit, but top line came slightly below what everybody thought it would. EBITDA fell short of expectations by 3-4%. Margins were still up. Margins were up some 90 basis points, but they fell short slightly. What happened? Could you just run us through operational parameters?
Sure. So as far as the top line is concerned, there are a couple of factors that impacted lower volume growth. Number one is, of course, the CSD, which has grown lower than what was expected earlier. Though the worst is over for CSD and it is showing the improving trend, but it will take some time before it comes back to normal. The other factor is on account of the commodities. There has been a little slowdown on that, and that has impacted lower volume. And the third one is on the overseas market for the Namaste, we have slower sales growth, and that is impacted the top line. So putting all three together, there is a pressure on the top line. Having said that, the growth of volume at 9% is pretty healthy.
Advertising spends?
When we looked at the operating margin, they are at 16.8%, which is in line with the market expectations. And the EBITDA has actually grown pretty high at 22.1%.
Okay. Could you just tell us, going back to volume, I mean top line actually, how are things looking on some of these things? You said CSD sales, they were lower than expected, but that has bottomed out. And the other two factors, I mean, how are they looking as you head into the next few quarters?
Right. So as I said that as far as the CSD is concerned, it has started showing the improvement. So in the next couple of quarters, we see this to improve further. On the commodity side, I think it will all depend upon the exchange impact and the market sentiments that will determine the commodities growth going forward. As far as our Namaste growth is concerned, all the corrective actions are in place, and we do see the positive trend going forward starting from the next couple of quarters.
So the other expenses item was lower. I mean, I understand that has been a key surprise. It kind of neutralized the impact of rising advertising and promotional expenses. And that's the reason why EBITDA was higher. Margins were still higher.
Absolutely. So if we look at in terms of our expenses, the international market has shown the slowdown on the pricing, and therefore we have been able to invest into the advertisement expenses, and that has given us the support in terms of the volume growth.
Okay, got that. Sir, domestic versus international. Domestic seems to be growing well. International, there seems to be a bit of pressure. Could you just leave us with a guidance?
As a policy, we don't give guidance, but what we do see is that our international market is showing the healthy growth, and with given the Namaste, it should show the positive trends as we go forward.
All right, sir. We'll leave it at that. Thanks very much for taking those questions, Mr.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Appreciate you joining in here on the show. That's Dabur, which came out with numbers. I mean, no, not a large disappointment or anything. Slightly off on the top line. Girish Pai is joining in here. Rajesh Bhayati is with us as well to take some questions. Thanks very much, both of you. Appreciate it. Girish, you were just telling me before we came on air that you've changed your view. You were bearish, now you're bullish.